I'll call the meeting of the Olive Branch Planning Commission to order. We'll have the roll call, please.
Pat Dorr,
Here.
Dion Jones,
Here.
Janice Lewis,
Here.
Mark Long,
Here.
Diane Singer,
Here.
Donnie Singh,
Here.
Steve Stratton.
Okay, you've received in your packets the minutes of the July 9th, 2025 meeting. Are there any corrections or additions that needs to be done to the minutes? If not, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Singer to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
A second.
All right, we have a second by Mr. Jones. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Then the motion's carried, the minutes have been approved. All right, we don't have anything under old business today, so we'll go to the new business. Let me first say welcome to everybody that's here. I believe, how many of you here for the Center Hill Plantation? So we've got, we've got quite a few here for that. So it's number 3 on our agenda, but we're going to move it all the way up to number 1. So that way you won't have to, you're more than welcome to stay for all the applications, but this way you can go to this one, and if you wish to stay, you can, and if not, and we're glad you are here. I just ask you to please be silent during the presentations, and after the presentation's done, we'll have a public hearing where we'll open the floor for anyone that wishes to come forward and speak. But we ask that you limit your time to 3 minutes or less, and that you only have one trip to the podium, and that you try not to be repetitive. If someone says something, don't try to repeat it in essence of time, because we do have 5 applications to go through tonight. Okay, number 3 under new business is an application to amend the project text and preliminary development plan for Center Hill Plantation, submitted by Michelle Yee, DT Design Studio, on behalf of property owners David Halley, Center Hill Plantation Partnership. The request is to increase the amount of open space by 10 plus or minus acres and adding a greater variety of uses, while keeping the proposed number of homes below the amount that was approved with the creation of this development in 1999. The subject property is 751.67 plus or minus acres, zone PUD plan unit development, located on the south side of DeSoto Road, with 195 plus or minus acres on the east side of Center Hill Road, and the remaining 556 plus or minus acres on the west side. So we'll now have the staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I will go into the location of the project. I think everybody knows where Center Hill Road is. Center Hill Plantation PUD properties are generally located on either side of Center Hill Road, which is right here. It is between the south side of DeSoto Road, which is located right here, and the north side of Highway 302, which is located right here. It's 195 plus or minus acres on the east side of Center Hill Road, right here, and the remaining 556 acres on the west side of Center Hill Road, which is right here, for a total of 751.67 acres total. So I'd like to go into a site summary timeline and the background. Center Hill Plantation Planned Unit Development Project text and the master plan was approved by DeSoto County in 1999. An amendment was approved by DeSoto County in 2018, which reduced the number of lots from 1,133 to 1,020, which was a 113 lot reduction. The planned unit development was annexed into the city of Olive Branch in 2021. The applicant and property owner have requested an amendment to the PUD project text and master plan to meet several objectives of increasing the open space within the planned unit development, adding a greater variety of uses, and changing the total number of residential lots back to the 1999 original version. You'll see that they're actually coming in at a slightly less, to re-add that, it's just slightly less total. I'll continue with the site summary timeline and background. So there has been no development in Center Hill Plantation since its 1999 approval and the 2018 amendment. But with the post-annexation extension of central sewer to the area, development is expected to commence within the next several years. However, the full program is expected to extend over many years in multiple development phases and will be dependent upon market conditions. It will be further regulated through the city's subdivision procedures, where streets and utilities will be installed in lots platted to allow construction of new homes and businesses. So, what is the summary of the amendment, of the proposed amendment? Unlike conventional zoning, a PUD project text serves as a unique development code for a project by setting forth permissible uses, bulk regulations, and other standards, such as architectural, to coincide with a PUD master plan. In the case of Center Hill Plantation, these standards are applied to 3 different parts of the overall project. So, Area 1, which is right here, here's Goodman Road, here's Center Hill Road. This is Area 1, okay? This is the plus or minus 112 acre mixed use area, which is located at the Center Hill intersection, right here, along the north side of Goodman Road. It is bounded to the north by a 75-foot wide power line easement. And here's the easement right here. And it goes all the way like this, okay? Area 2, which is right here, I'm not going to specifically touch on because that is not proposed for any changes as part of the current amendment. So we're not going to touch on that one. Area 3 is along the east side of Center Hill. Again, here's Center Hill. This is the area that's planned for specifically, in totality, single-family residential. The PUD amendment proposes changes to this area right here. So Center Hill, DeSoto Road, and Payne Lane, including adding 10 plus or minus acres of open space and adding back 110 single-family lots. This addition would bring the total number of lots within the Center Hill Plantation PUD back to 1,130, which is just under the original number of 1,133 lots, which was approved in 1999. So, the analysis. In Area 1, which is the area which is at the intersection of Goodman and Center Hill, as depicted, the land area and potential square footage for the commercial shopping area, which is this portion right here, if you can see, right here, of Area 1, has been proposed for a substantial reduction from the 2018 plan. You can see the existing plan, which is 2018. You can see right here on the slide, which is above the proposed plan. This was the 2018 plan. So you can see the scale's a little bit different, but you can see that how it is shrunk here and here. So right here, you can see here comes a stream right through here. This is where it has been reduced. So the proposed amendment reduces the number of potential commercial lots, so you can see these will be eliminated, north of the proposed shopping center, and adds a self-storage facility as a permitted use in Area 21C, which would be right here. So they put a proposed self-storage facility. The land area planned for senior housing has been expanded You can see here senior housing right here in the existing plan. This has been expanded to across the creek right here and has been expanded to both sides of the drainage ditch. It incorporates single-family senior lots in Area 20A, you can see 20A here, with a prospective senior housing facility and medical offices, senior fitness facilities, and professional offices as supplementary uses in Area 20B, you can see right here, which is the area that fronts on Goodman Road. Well, I'll continue the analysis. Of course, I'll mention Area 2, which is no change. We'll move on to Area 3. So the lot layout of a portion of the single-family area of East Center Hill Road will be revised to re-add 110 lots. This would closely mirror the original 1999 PUD lot total. Area 4, which it's a little bit difficult to see, but this is Area 4 right here. Okay? From the 2018 amendment, and remember this is the 2018 amendment, which contains 156 30,000 square foot lots, will become areas 31. So if you look at the slide below, 31, which is all of this. 32, which is right here. 33 here. I'm sorry, 32 is here. 33 and 34 are here, which would contain 269 lots for a net increase of 113 lots. The perimeter lots within areas 1, 2, and 3, so that's these lots along here, which is along DeSoto Road and along Center Hill, those would remain untouched. They would remain unchanged at 40,000 and 30,000 square foot respectively. So this amendment does not include these lots. A summary of the re-addition is as follows. 31 would be 20,000 square foot lots. Area 32 would be 15,000 square foot lots, and 12,000 square foot lots for areas 32, 33 and 34. So the re-added lots would be an upgrade from an open ditch street section. Those lots would include curbs, gutters, and sidewalks within a typical 50-foot residential street cross-section. Additionally, several traffic circles are proposed as traffic calming devices within the new areas. So you can see the traffic circles here, here, down here. That one's obstructed by some text, and here. Okay? So, open space. The city's zoning ordinance requires that a minimum of 10% of the gross subject property shall be set aside as parks, playgrounds, or other common open space, and that's for public use. So the applicant has proposed revising the common open space total acreage upward from 127.04, which is approximately 20% of the total development, to 137.19 acres. So that's approximately a 2%, right here, 2% net increase in open space. So the total would come to be about 22%. You can see the existing plan here on the left, and you can see the addition of this space here and these spaces here in particular, as well as I think the traffic circles also function as some kind of minor little green spaces. Okay. There are some additional changes. They include identification of any required frontage improvements to Center Hill Road, such as widening, installation of acceleration or deceleration lanes, and installation of curb, gutter, and sidewalks shall be addressed through the Olive Branch subdivision approval procedure for each phase of development. An overall reduction in traffic generation, which would result in the reduction of the commercial acreage, That's a result of the reduction. And within the text, all references to DeSoto County are changed to Olive Branch. So what would the next steps be? Pursuant to the review and recommendation of the Planning Commission, the Board of Aldermen will be asked to set a public hearing for September 16th, 2025 to review the proposed amendments and consider approval. Development is not expected to proceed for several years pursuant to approval of preliminary and final plats that would allow for construction of infrastructure. So the recommended motion is to approve the application and recommend that the Board of Aldermen approve the proposed amendments to the project text and development plan for Center Hill Plantation Planned Unit Development with the following conditions. Number one, any future amendment to the single-family residential area located to the west of Center Hill Road will need to consider provisions to extend Fox Lane as a minor collector eastward to Center Hill Road with a specific cross-section as recommended by the city engineer. And number two, post-approval, provide final version, a final version of the project text in hard copy and electronic format without strike-through and underline. That concludes staff presentation. I believe that the representatives are here to make a presentation.
Okay, let me ask any questions of staff before we get to your presentations. Anyone have any questions?
I did have a question. For that area 3, where they were adding or taking off lots, and they had the 40,000 square foot lots around the perimeter of the development there? Yeah, right there.
Right, this one,
Yes, correct. On that bottom part.
right here?
Yeah, like all those 40,000 square foot lots, are they all going to have access? Their curb cuts are going to be towards Center Hill, or are they planning on doing rear load?
Well, you
development?
can see there's no street along this side back here.
Yeah.
So this would be on DeSoto and Center Hill. But I will let Mrs. Michelle Yee address that also.
Okay. And the only other question I had was on the commercial side. They said they were changing up some of the uses. I didn't see any of that mentioned in here. On the commercial uses.
Well, the commercial use, you mean, I guess.
Was the only thing that they're adding on the commercial side was it storage units or?
Yeah, they're putting
anything
some commercial, some storage units toward
Okay.
the rear, back in the back. That's a proposal.
In the age-restricted housing, single-family lots for age-restricted housing. And
Gotcha.
adding some of those offices for medical offices and a senior care facility as well.
Yes.
Does the current PUD have restrictions on construction? So if we do add storage facilities as a permitted use, can it be a steel building, or does the current language have anything on a percentage of steel or brick?
Yeah, they will have to comply with the City of Olive Branch's approval process to comply with the architectural.
I believe in Michelle's presentation, she'll show you some pictures of what they're envisioning for this storage facility that's taken from Collierville.
Okay.
So I think the applicant could probably address that.
All right, thank you.
All right, if the applicant would come forward, please.
Hi, thank you, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Awesome. All right, let me make sure this works. All right, awesome. So just wanted to start off with a little bit of background on Mr. David Halley. For those of you who aren't familiar with his developments, David is a very reputable and well-known developer in this area and has done a ton of work in Collierville. So I wanted to show some of the developments he's done, both more recent and a little bit older, so you know his commitment to quality. He's done a lot of residential projects, for example, the Howley Plantation, Almadale Farms, Strathmore, Chadwick. In addition to that, has done a lot of senior housing, and also in conjunction with kind of that mixed use component. So for example, Poplar Grove in Germantown, the Village at Strathmore in Collierville, and Cedar Grove in Collierville. And then also commercial projects that do look really nice and fit into the quality of the surrounding context. Strathmore, for example, there's a Campbell Clinic that is going in the front of the senior living. So that would be kind of similar to what we would imagine for our senior living area here as well. So you have some senior lots with the ability for a medical or office user to kind of come in on the street frontage. In addition, wanted to show this picture of the Collierville Marketplace self-storage. You can see that this is the idea of that self-storage that you were wondering about. In this development, it was designed to really have a nice brick facade along the street, an office that looks like a similar or a typical office building, but really from the street you really can't tell that it's a storage facility, right? But it offers residents nearby the ability to have a little bit less stuff in their homes. And then the Market Boulevard Center is another retail project, as well as the Civic Center Office Park. And in addition to that, David is really focused on civic partnerships. So, for example, within the Halley Park PD in Collierville, he gave 70 acres for the Town Hall Library and a public park. In Almadale Farms in Collierville, 100 acres for a nature preserve, 250 acres for the St. George's School campus. And then also in Bailey Station PD, Collierville is trying to attract this FedEx campus, the World Tech Center. So that's about 120 acres. And more directly for this development, David has given 2 acres to build a fire station on the site. So that was one of the reasons that kind of triggered coming to y'all for a PD amendment. And just to kind of go back through the history of the approvals, so this is the plan from the 1999 approval. It has, as Kevin mentioned, 1,133 homes with about 1.8 dwelling units per acre and 73 acres of open space. The 2018 approved plan was really done mostly to accommodate some existing site constraints in this area 2, which we're not touching with this amendment. So you can kind of see previously there was a big lake, and in the 2018 version, the lake was removed for a different type of open space here, which ended up dropping the number of lots by 113. And in this version, you can kind of see that both, I guess what was referred to as area 1 and 3, sorry, this thing is kind of hard to control. This side and the portion in the bottom really didn't change much from the 1999 to 2018. So now what we're taking forward is refining these 2 areas a little bit more. So we'll go into the residential portion first, this 191 plus or minus acre residential neighborhood. As was mentioned, the outer 40,000 square foot lots are staying the same. And really what we're doing here is, in order to kind of bring it into Olive Branch standards with curb and gutter, we're needing to mix in some smaller lot sizes, And that also has the benefit of increasing the open space here by roughly 16 acres, and also mixing in a different product type, so it can get built out a little bit faster, more demand in the market, for instance. So we believe this is a good solution for adapting to the Olive Branch standards versus the standards of the county. And then also going down to that 114-acre commercial and senior housing parcel. As was mentioned in the staff presentation, the commercial area got a little bit smaller, and this is really just to kind of right-size the commercial uses. You know, before, that commercial area was almost kind of a blank slate, but now that we're starting to think about the types of uses that could be allowed here a little bit more, we realized that was way too much commercial. This would be more appropriate to add in some more senior housing and scale back the commercial a little bit. And you can also see where the self-storage is located. It's really pretty internal to the development, so we believe that the outside impacts are going to be very minimal. And let me see. And also in the front here is where we were talking about allowing some of those medical professional office uses that would be very compatible with something like a senior living facility. So to add all of this together, you know, we're really requesting this change in response to that annexation in 2021 by Olive Branch. We're responding to the surrounding development that has happened in the area and current market demand, and especially costs of building a home. And then also the donation of the 2 acres, which is shown in that orange block right here, for the Olive Branch Fire Station. And the overall impacts of this amendment, we are increasing the amount of open space, roughly 64 acres above the 1999 plan and about 16 acres above the 2018 plan. And that 10 acres is really a minimum. There's about 16 acres that we're adding in this area. There was about 6 acres of miscellaneous open space that we decided not to include in that overall total. So it's really kind of a conservative number there. And then it increases the development feasibility by mixing in some different lot products and different commercial uses, and really kind of takes a more detailed look at the commercial area. And also, it keeps the number of residential lots and density the same as the approved 1999 plan. So really, we believe that the impacts from kind of bringing it back to that number of lots is in line with kind of keeping this development really the same as it has already been approved, but designing it to be a little bit better, increasing the number of open space, the amount of open space and the number of open spaces, and then also just responding to what Olive Branch wants and needs. So with that, I can answer any questions or go into additional detail on anything.
Any questions of that?
Yeah, I do have one. Really the same thing that I asked staff earlier. What's the plan to mitigate some of those curb cuts on those larger lots? Because, I mean, if we have like 20 curb cuts coming out into Center Hill, that might be a bit of an issue.
Yeah, so the plan for, I'm trying to go back, for that is that these lots, the 40,000 square foot lots, would access off of the exterior streets, so DeSoto or Center Hill Road. But where possible, so for example, here, where we do have a side street, we're going to access off of that side street.
That side street would cover just that one lot in the front, right? And that, just that corner lot?
These two lots plus these two.
Yeah, and then every other lot would have a curb cut onto Center Hill,
Yes.
right?
And that's as it was originally approved as well.
Any other questions? No further questions, and thank you
Thank you.
for your comments. Okay, we will now open it for public discussion. And once again, limit your time to 3 minutes or less. And please try not to be repetitive. And you only have one trip to the podium. So now I will open it. If anyone wishes to come forward, if you'll raise your, or if you will, just come forward, please, and state your name and address.
How's it going? Jeffrey Ferguson, 7255 Rollins, right there. What's your plan for the traffic on Center Hill? You got all these roads cutting into the driveways. You need to make that a 4-lane.
That will be the issue before the aldermen, when it comes before them. That will be their question. And we may have had some traffic counts. I don't know if we had any traffic counts on this. I'll just,
Because the traffic's already bad enough as it is through there.
Sir, the city's, would you care for me to answer? Yeah, the city's long-range plan has Center Hill Road as a 5-lane section. And one of the items that was incorporated into the PUD project text, we added some language that would essentially, through the plating process, have the developer make improvements along Center Hill Road, frontage improvements along Center Hill Road as it was built out. So it would definitely be widened, particularly down abutting the commercial area. And then as you went farther up the road, again, the idea being you'd have a center turn lane there. So even if it wasn't completely improved to a 5-lane section, maybe there's a possibility of doing some deceleration lanes, you would at least have a center turn lane so people would be able to make left-hand turns in and out of their garage. So there is language in that project text that does address the traffic issue on a more specific basis, but as the project moves forward and gets into plating phases, which would be things that would come through the Planning Commission, then you would be able to look at the actual details of that. Right now, we're really dealing at a higher level with just the zoning issues, and as you get more specific, you'll get more into those details. But yes, there are provisions that are being made in what you're seeing tonight.
How about another school with 1,000 homes? You're going to fill up the schools over there too.
we're not in the, that's something I'll have to ask Soda County Schools about.
Just build more houses.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
Thank you, sir. If y'all will please refrain from any applause, no applauses. All right, state your name and address.
Hi, we're Alan and Amanda Reimer. We are the only, us and my mother, Chip, we're the only houses on the north side of DeSoto Road, on the west side of Center Hill. We're the only two. I really would beg you to do a traffic study. I think we all talk about traffic, and y'all are like, oh yeah, there's a lot of traffic. You need to do a traffic study. There's probably 500 18-wheelers going down our little section of DeSoto Road every day. We were told by the Planning Commission that that wasn't happening. It is 100% happening. You should put a line in the road and let it go across it and see how often it happens. That's going to be your nightmare when you have these 20 cuts on the side of the road and you have people getting in and out, okay? So just think about how used to those 18-wheelers couldn't come down Center Hill Road. We've been there.
There was a weight limit
We've
sign
been
for
there 40 years, and they couldn't come down. Now it is regular as clockwork. The whole house shakes as they come by. So think about how long the road's going to last. Think about the accidents. And also, I don't want to repeat what he says, but if you haven't been out there at 4 o'clock at school let out time, the traffic goes from Goodman to DeSoto Road to the light, okay? So you may talk about 5 lanes at Goodman. You need to talk about 5 lanes down at DeSoto Road. It's ridiculous. So just, and then you,
All right, so gentlemen
and ladies.
and ladies, We've been residents out there since '89. My mother-in-law's been there since '77. Center Hill was gravel when we moved out there. All that's irrelevant today. But what I'm getting at, there's 0 city services except gas line, natural gas line. There's no water, there's no sewer. I'm curious about the plan for that. I understand about a fire station down the corner, and that'd be greatly appreciated. But I'm really concerned, and it was brought up by Mr. Long, about all the curb cuts that are going to be on Center Hill and DeSoto on both phases of the development. Obviously, you got plans for widening Center Hill. That's all fine and dandy. But there's a problem now without a PUD there as far as traffic goes, and that needs to be addressed first and foremost. I think I've used my time. Thank you,
Thank y'all.
ladies
Thank-
and
Appreciate
gentlemen.
y'all.
Thank you. We'll try to answer all of your questions at the end of the presentation. Yes, ma'am, please come forward.
My name is Florence German, but people call me Chip, and I'm a retired teacher from Olive Branch. And I looked up the definition of plantation, and it's really an estate with one big house, and it's planted and cultivated by workers living on it like a sugar plantation. And I hope that the developers would just drop that. We've got a plantation already, and I saw they've got a couple in Germantown. Center Hill was actually quite the town back in the early 1900s. There was a hotel, there was a college there was a stagecoach stop, a general store, and I know that because I wrote an article for the newspaper in 1984 when I interviewed some of the older residents there. So Center Hill would be a good name. I'm hoping they just drop the plantation. A lot of people think if we're from Mississippi, we're ignorant and racist, and that is not the case. And I would like for them to note that. And I have written them a letter when they proposed this in '99, saying the same stuff. So I'm repeating myself. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to come forward? We have one lady coming now. So.
Hi there, I'm Tamala Dotson, and address 7051 Payne Lane. I saw you had information on widening Center Hill, and I see that Payne Lane it is going to be extended or widened for the extra traffic. Are they going to be able to come off of Goodman Road onto Payne Lane?
Do y'all want to answer that now, or we can just take all the questions and answer them at one time?
There's no connection.
There's no connection.
There's not going to be a connection. It's not going to come. Also, I'm a member of that church that's on the other side of your development. Is that there's not going to be a street or anything coming through there? Nope,
You want to answer?
There's no connection.
there's no connection.
Sir, if you want to come forward.
My name is Gene Holloway. I live at 6259 East Creekside Drive, Olive Branch, and that is the Valley Oak subdivision that's south of Goodman. And I'd like to hear that you're going to expand Center Hill Road. You just need to consider expanding it south of Goodman, because we already have a traffic jam, and we've got Center Hill Farms that started now, and it is going to be a worse nightmare. The other thing that I'd like to find out, even though, as I said, I don't have a horse in this race, the new subdivision, what's going to be the square footage of the homes built in there? And we show the square footage of the lots, but what's the square footage of the homes Are there going to be 1,200 square foot starter homes? Do we know that yet?
If we can, let's just get all the questions and we'll try to answer them all at one time. We'll have.
Okay,
have
okay,
them all
that's
come forward.
what
We-
I
we
would
will
be
answer
interested
that.
in. I'm sure other homeowners that live up in that area would be interested in what are the size of the homes going in there to, hopefully it'd be, those bigger lots will be enough square footage to help increase the value of the homes already there. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good evening. Roxy Jameson, 7252 Center Hill. I know he had mentioned about the water coming through on Center Hill, and most of all of the residents now is on Whale. So we concerned about, do all of us have to go on the line, when y'all run the water through there, or how long is it gonna be before y'all bring it through there?
Okay, we'll answer that question later too. We'll just get all the questions and try to answer them at one time.
Hi, I'm Susan Lewis, and I live on Rollins Cove. It is a cove. Will it continue to be a cove, or is it going to be connected, or is our street safe?
I'm sorry, will you repeat that again, or are you talking about the plat being the same?
On Rollins Cove, which is literally just a little cove between Lawbrook and, I guess, Center Hill, 8 houses. Will that remain a cove? That's the one that I live on, that street.
Yes,
It is.
it would stay, yeah.
Also, they just said several years when this will start. What is several years?
Okay.
3, 5?
We'll address that at the end. Yes.
Okay. And property values, no one's mentioned that as far as to the existing residents.
Mhm.
Is that expected to go up, go down?
We'll address that at the end too, if anyone has that. Okay? Anyone else? Yes, sir, come forward, please.
How y'all doing?
All right.
My name is James Witherspoon. I live at 7381 Hunter Forest in the Fox Creek subdivision. I see where they built a gas station at in the front of our subdivision. They took the east entrance and made it where you can only turn to the left. And are they gonna take the other entrance and make it where you only make a right turn only too? Like when you come out of the other entrance, you gotta make a right turn. You have to go down and come back up. But are they gonna change their entrance too? Because we got 2 entrances coming into the subdivision. So this is my
Mr.
only
Chairman, I
question.
think he may be here to comment on items number 1 and 2 on the
Okay.
agenda. So
We're-
you may want to wait till the next
Yeah.
item on the agenda
Yeah,
Okay.
for that
And
comment.
one more question, then I'm gonna leave y'all alone. What else are y'all building next to that gas station on that other, that they already leveled it off? Are they building something else there?
I don't think at this point there's anything that's necessarily planned.
Okay.
yeah,
And I wanna thank the lady for the history lesson too.
that's right.
I didn't know that. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to come forward?
Good afternoon. Audrey Higgins, 7230 Center Hill Road. Have one question. I noticed you all talked about widening the roads. Are you going to purchase from the homeowners, or are you just going to get what you need? That's the best way I can put it. Shall I say, are you going to purchase or are you going to take it? Seriously, are you going to purchase it or talk to the homeowners on the south side, on the north side of Goodman Road to Center Hill, or what's your plans for that?
Maybe that could be addressed.
That can be addressed at the end. We've got all these questions we'll go through at the end.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have one more gentleman here.
My name is Lynn Lawhon. I live at 8405 Center Hill Road. And I want to speak on 2 items here based on this application. Obviously, for the record, I am for this application because we worked for many, many years to try to develop the Center Hill corridor through the DeSoto County Planning Commission. When this was originally brought forth, along with my neighbor, even though across the street, Chip, we were fighting warehouses. Let me tell everybody, we're still fighting warehouses and we will continue. I will go all the way. And one reason we wanted a PUD was to keep Billy Donovan and that from coming over there and running over Chip and I. So this was a plan, and it's a big one, it's a bold one, but this was a very expensive one. So property values, yeah, they're gonna go up, I guarantee. There are a couple of things, though, that I would beg for you all to consider with they're bringing up very good points about Center Hill. It is now a major arterial run from Collierville and Chickasaw, the industrial park and everything else, and so many of the cars, not only that, but we have a school, which is out there. And until Forest Hill, Irene is brought all the way through, and we know that's a part of the Metropolitan Planning Organization, which good news is gonna help us because a lot of that traffic is gonna go straight down to Goodman, but it's gonna be years before that happens. We would like for you all to consider maybe taking those lots that are facing Center Hill there, and we put that in to kind of keep this rural neighborhood look, and we had no earthly idea there'd be 1 billion cars running back in there. So maybe that's something that the developer and you all can look at and try to modify. That's the area on the east side, because it would be quite difficult for all of those cars to try to back out into a 5-lane. And a point of matter too, this subdivision is going to help widen Center Hill Road, which we desperately need. And I think definitely Olive Branch can help us out with those sorts of things. But there is no exaggeration from the audience when they talk about the traffic load out there. And so much of it is not our neighborhood. It is Memphis traffic coming through, going to the warehouses, which are getting more and more in our friends Marshall County. And so we understand that. And so we are very proud of the Center Hill corridor. I'm proud of this area and I'm very happy to live out there. But we definitely want to be good partners with the city of Olive Branch in trying to help alleviate some of the problems that the community is having. And we appreciate your all's consideration. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else? If not, then I'll ask Ms. Yee if she'll come back and try to answer some of the questions that were brought forward, and the staff can also assist in answering the questions.
All right. Do you want me to just kind of run through what I remember? As far as, let's see, I think, there's been a lot of talk about Center Hill Road, and of course, we'll work with the city as phases of this get built out to be able to provide improvements based on the city's needs per phase. The minimum home size is addressed in the PD. It was actually, we're keeping the existing minimum home sizes approved in the PD. So for example, the area east of Center Hill Road, the home sizes will range from 2,200 to 2,000. And let me see. But I do believe that David is wanting to increase that where he can. Rollins Cove, there's no plans to convert that into a through street or anything. And I agree that property values are expected to increase because we're bringing additional retail options, we're bringing more green spaces, different lot sizes, so it's going to be a more desirable and sustainable area to live. Are there any other questions that I can help answer at this time, or?
Anybody else have any questions of Ms. Yee?
I have a question. Would the developer be willing to work on some sort of idea to mitigate the curb cuts onto Center Hill from these 40,000 square foot lots? And I commend you guys. The layout it looks great, and I think it's going to be a great project. Just my biggest concern is exactly like the gentleman mentioned, is people trying to back out of their driveways onto a 5-lane street. I mean, we all know what the traffic is right now, and I mean, if I lived there and I had to back up into that traffic, or if that was my driveway, it would be an issue, I think. And I get why those lots are 40,000 square feet, to give it the appeal of estate-size homes and things like that. I mean, 40,000 square feet, that's almost an acre lot. So, I mean, that's sizable. Those homes are going to be sizable. And to your guys' comments, yes, those will probably increase property values. But I just feel like if we could figure out some sort of traffic solution to mitigate those curb cuts, at least on Center Hill, I think that would help the entire development as well.
I will say that concern hadn't been brought up until now, so we'll definitely have to do some further studies. One thing we were trying to do is make sure we stay under that 1999 approved the number of homes. And my inkling is that when we add another internal road to be able to take the traffic off of Center Hill and DeSoto, that might require us to make those lots smaller, and thus increasing the total number of residential lots. So I think, there's definitely a balance there. So if that's something that the city agrees that, is a priority over keeping the number of lots at or below the 1999 plan, I think we would definitely be open to looking at that. Yes.
Excuse me for interrupting. I'm David Halley, and I just wanted to address these things. We definitely will be working with Olive Branch. When Olive Branch took this in, it changed a lot of things, like sidewalks and various things we have to do now to fit into Olive Branch, which we're happy to do. The one thing we cannot do is in the development is if we have traffic jams that are there now, they have problems right there now that I'm aware of. I was involved way back when Olive Branch named that as the major corridor. If y'all remember, it was like 15 different places, then it got to 10, then 5. And the city and everybody involved said Center Hill would be the major road going into Collierville eventually. So we know that as we develop, we have to put in at least another lane, curb and gutter, all along the road, because as selling the property and marketing the property, I cannot sell or market the property if people cannot get in and out of their driveway. So what we could do is, and I hadn't talked to Michelle about it, but on those 40,000 square foot lots that are basically 1 acre lots, we can hold off on those 1 acre lots until another lane is in there, and work with the city to make sure, and the city administration to make sure the traffic is tended to, because if the traffic's so bad that people can't get in and out of their homes and can't get in and out of the development, we can hang up selling it. So the square footages, I'm touching on just a few things why I got up, because they were set at minimums years ago. I'm for a more upscale development there, more like Halley Plantation, more like Almadale Farms, to create something really nice in that 200-acre block is what I call it. And the different square footages will increase with lot sizes. So a 12,000 square foot lot has a certain minimum, and as you go to 15 and to 1 acre, they're all larger. So we put them on a scale. Halley Plantation is 550 lots. And it's got, I use it as an example because we have 2 acre lots, 1 acre lots, half acre, 15,000 square foot lots. And it's been great for marketing. And the Homeowners Association is very strong there with $400,000 or $500,000 a year coming into the association. I see this as being the same type thing. This on the 200-acre block, it's designed with more green area. We usually put swimming pools, we have tennis courts, we plan, it's not all in this application, but we have lodge halls at the different developments where we have a lot of amenities that'll go in, which Olive Branch doesn't have that right now in a lot of developments. So we're trying to make this really upscale is what we're trying to do. And we're going to work with the citizens in that area, because if it's not good for them and it's blocked in, it's bad publicity, it's bad PR, and I understand marketing a little bit, and I know that, you know, if the development is not done right, everyone loses. So I just wanted, if I can answer any questions, and I'll go, I wasn't asked to speak, I just stuck my big nose in it, but if y'all have any questions from me, I'm happy to answer anything while I'm here.
Would you be willing to accept a stipulation that none of those houses on Center Hill, on east and west side, are constructed until there's a fifth lane or the Center Hill is expanded?
Yeah, in other words, on the 40,000 square foot lots? Is that what you're
Yes,
talking about, the
and
curb
because
cuts?
We're talking about the stuff on the east side, but we haven't really
Sure.
addressed the west side.
Well, on our side, on this side, that's fine with me, to delay the development of those lots and the sale till at least another lane is put in.
Okay.
And we all agree with the citizens and with the city that the traffic is really improved. Because like I said, why would I want to try and sell 1 acre lots all along there if they can't get in and out of the driveway?
Mhm.
So, yes, I will. That's fine to put that stipulation in there. I have no problem. We can do that after the road's put in.
Mr. Chairman,
On the west side, yeah.
there may be an alternative to this that's very easy and straightforward, and you will not have driveways on Center Hill Road. He will not have to wait. There is a street there that is running north to south. If you look at the map in front of you on the proposed plan, if you just move that street and put them behind the 40-feet lots, you will have access to the lots on both sides. You will be able to access the 40,000 square feet lots from that street quite easily. We can work with the developer in redrawing this quite easily. You will lose, I don't think you will lose any lots. It should be possible to get that done before we get to the Board of Aldermen. That's possible.
Okay, so this can be resolved before the meeting with the Board of Aldermen.
Yeah,
Any other
we
questions?
can get that done.
Thank you so much for your comments.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing I
All
never
right, we've got
mentioned,
one.
Ms. Alley, you do some good development. Your stuff in Collierville and Germantown is top class. It's really, really good stuff, and we look forward to this. It's just a matter of getting comfortable with that
Sure.
traffic flow.
I'm new here.
Sure,
So to you, I've developed about, I think, 2,400 lots in Collierville
Yeah.
and done a lot of work in Germantown.
Yep.
I was an alderman in Germantown years ago. I served one term. I didn't do that again. I didn't want any part of that. But I'm here to improve. I had a rule when I was on Planning Commission years ago on the Board of Zoning Appeals and all that, is if you have a developer would come to us, and if they could not show or we didn't feel their development would bring higher values to the area, I wouldn't vote for it. They had to show me that what they were putting in there improved the quality of everything around there. And if it didn't bring the prices up around them, I failed as a planning commission member. So, and later as a member of the board. So, in Germantown. So, and they're hardcore in Germantown. So, I think this will be really a nice development. In the commercial area, we plan to make everything architecturally similar. The brick, the style, the size, everyone in there has got to conform to heavy architectural controls, because that is the entrance to Olive Branch. As you come down Goodman, that's the first commercial area you're going to see. So it's a reflection of the city, a reflection of the Planning Commission and the Mayor and Board as to what they approve. And if I don't keep the architecture where it looks like a planned campus, then I have failed. So, and I don't intend to fail. The things I've done in Collierville are like a campus with the city hall and the office. If y'all have ever seen it, it all matches. It was all part of the plan.
One of the questions was asked several years before it gets started. What's best case scenario? Best case scenario, when does it start? How long would it take to be completely built out?
It would take probably 12 years to build it out. It'll be built in phases of probably 30 to 40 lots per phase. So what you do is you come in, and we're probably a minimum of 3 years away from starting. Once you start, we build 30 or 50 lots, and the phases will be approved by your staff. When we decide to do the phasing, we tighten up on the phasing so the city approves by phase and by survey, every phase we do, and it has to be contiguous to each other. So I can't do a phase here and a phase over here and scatter it. It's got to be contiguous to each other, and we do it slowly, and we don't flood the market, because if you flood the market and you go in and you put 100 lots or 75 lots, and they sit there and they don't sell, the builders lower their prices, it lowers the value of your appraisals. It's better to have builders saying we're waiting on more lots than flood the market. So that's what we've done in German and Collierville, is we put on about 50 lots at a time, and we had like 5 builders that took 10 lots each, and then when they would get them up and they were selling, we'd start the next one, which would be another year off, and we kept it going where there's not a saturation of too many lots on the market. We've had this 26 years, the property, so I'm in no hurry. The only hurry is I'm older and tired and kind of beat up, so that's the only hurry, is me. Anyways, anything else I can, before I need someone to get a hook and pull me off.
Once again, thank you so much
Thank you
for your
so
comments. Appreciate it. Appreciate that. I will just mention, one lady asked something about having a well and wanting to hook up to city water. Well, that has nothing to do with this application, but I think it's something that you need to contact the city and make sure about that. Do we have any? If not, then I'm going to close the public hearing. And once again, I thank you all for your comments. Before we vote, I would like to state that what we're doing tonight is recommending to the city and to the mayor and board of aldermen at their meeting, which they will meet when? September the, do y'all have that date when the hearing? September 16th. So what we vote on tonight is a recommendation, and it will go to the mayor and board of aldermen on September 16th. Their vote is the final vote. So just want to let you know how the process goes on this. So I will now entertain any comments or discussion or motions from the commissioners.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the application with staff's recommendations, but I'd also like to add, if the developer and staff could work out some sort of plan to mitigate those curb cuts on Center Hill before the Board of Aldermen meeting, so that way they can get kind of a picture of, an accurate picture of what we're going to end up with. Yeah, we're good to go.
Okay, we've got a motion by Mr. Singh to approve the application subject to staff conditions, and also add that the staff and the applicant try to work out and mitigate the curb cuts between now and the Board of Aldermen meeting in September. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Have a second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion that we need to have on the motions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So it was unanimously carried and approved. Once again, it will go to the mayor and board of aldermen on September the 16th. Thank you all for being here. We'll take a few minute break and let everything clear out. Okay, if we could ask you to please quietly leave, and we will resume with the rest of our business. Okay, under new business, item number 1, we have an application to amend the project text for Kirk Farms submitted by Tim DeGastino, W.H. Porter Consultants, on behalf of property owners, Allen Olive Branch, John Porter, member. The request involves several changes, including but not limited to transportation, circulation, phasing of amenities, and number of lots in the planned development sub-districts. The subject property is 234.01 plus or minus acres on R3 Planned Residential District, located on the north side of Goodman Road, Highway 302, on the east side of Eastern Drive and west of Creekside Drive. So we'll now have the staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Planning Commissioners, before you is a request to consider the amendment of the Kirk Farms planned residential development. This is the subject 234 acres piece of property. It is located north of Goodman Road, Highway 302, east of Pork Lane and Plantation Grove subdivision. Fox Creek is further to the east of this particular site. Just to give you an idea or a history of the project that you have before you for amendment. On March 19, 2024, the Board of Aldermen, following a recommendation from this Planning Commission, did approve the project text and preliminary development plan for Kirk Farm Planned Residential Development after the board requested a number of changes to be made. This is the layout of the preliminary development plan that was approved by the Board of Aldermen. So this is a concept plan, the streets, street connections. The proposed plan before you, this is basically what it will look like. And I will touch on the main changes that are proposed for adoption. 1, the total open space will be increased from 72.44 acres to 75.14 acres. So the total amount of open space, which is basically all these areas shown here in green, to some extent the areas also shown in blue that are intended for stormwater management. And a lot of that addition comes from this area. If you look at this plan, you had lots in this particular area. In the new plan, you don't have any lots there. So that has added to the green space, the total green space count of this subdivision. The total number of lots has also been reduced by just 1, but that's important because it also leads to a reduction in traffic of at least 10 cars per day. So the total number of lots has been reduced from 603 to 602. There was in this plan, you will see here a connection, the Fox Bend. So this is Fox Bend Lane. It was approved to be extended from this subdivision through Fox Creek for 2 main purposes: to provide a means for residents in the new subdivision that is in Kirk Farm or from Plantation Grove to be able to access the commercial node where you have the new gas station. Somebody mentioned about a gas station under construction at this location without going through Goodman Road, kind of reduce traffic on Goodman Road. And that was one reason why you needed that connection. And secondly, it provided access, the traffic light, it's somewhere around this particular location. If you just continue on the street, you get down to the traffic light without going through some of the turns that are needed on Goodman Road. The developer proposes to eliminate that particular connection. You also had a connection to the north in this particular area. That connection will be moved down to be your new Fox Creek extension. So Fox Lane extension. This is where you have the lagoon in Fox Creek subdivision. The Croix intends to take that offline, and as such, that area should become at least pleasing enough for this road to be fully extended without any crisis with respect to the aesthetics of that corridor. The extension of that road should also provide an alternative east-west traffic connection from Polk Lane to Center Hill Road. We just talked about Center Hill Road, and I will show that down the line in the course of this presentation. Another change, the southward relocation of the northernmost connection, which is what I just mentioned. This connection here will be relocated to the Fox, will become the Fox Lane addition. There will be an increase in the aggregate size of lots in the entire subdivision. So if you take the sizes of each of the lots in the different districts as proposed, the aggregate will actually increase. There is a tendency in the city for, the Board of Aldermen wants lots to be larger. So this is actually in line with that desire in the city. This results from a reduction of the total count of the minimum 6,000 square foot lots. So these lots shown here in kind of yellowish color, those are your minimum 6,000 square feet lots at the center of the subdivision. Their total count is being reduced from 173 to 159, which means the area, the lot area that was occupied by those small lots is now being added to some other lots, making those other areas larger in size. Those other lots larger in size. A lot of that addition is in the 7,200 square feet lots, what was called the neighborhood lots. Those are the lots shown here in this column. Those lots will increase in number from 243 to 343. That's an addition of 53.5 to 56.9%. There will be a minor reduction in the total count of your minimum 10,000 square feet lots. Those are the lots shown here in yellow. And really the reduction is in this area. That's where you have the minor reduction. So if you see, you're going from this to this. The perimeter lots remain the 10,000. It's still the same, no change. In this area on the northeast corner of the property, your 10,000, minimum 10,000 square feet lots remain the same. There is no change. The real area where you've got to change is a little addition here and then the elimination of this particular cul-de-sac. So there'll be a minor reduction in the total count of 10,000 square feet lots from 107 to 100. So basically just losing 7 lots there. With regard to utilities, amenities in the subdivision, all amenities are maintained. Pickleball courts, swimming pools, 8 feet wide pedestrian trail, all those amenities are maintained. The only difference is that they will be moved, their construction will be moved from one phase to another. For example, initially the swimming pool was in phase 1, that will be moved to phase 2, but you still have a swimming pool. And it may even be better to have it in phase 2 than in phase 1, because something like a swimming pool, you need to have a good number of residents already in the subdivision using that pool, being able to maintain it. You don't just want to go in where nobody has bought a lot yet in that subdivision and you're building a swimming pool. We had that problem in villages at South Branch. So actually moving it to phase 2 is a better design option, The pickleball court that was in phase 3 is moved to phase 4. The 8 feet wide pedestrian trail that was in about 4 different phases will be constructed, will be completed in 2 phases in the subdivision. Its total length, of course, will be reduced because here it extended right up to the northern portion of the Forest Hill Irene Road. But with the extension of Fox Lane, it's going to terminate there. So the length may reduce from about 500 to 1,000 feet. You will still have about 3,000 feet of that 8 feet wide pedestrian trail will be constructed. An addition in terms of amenities will be the addition of a public art in this common open space that initially was conceived to be in phase 9. It will now be in phase 6. This common open space at the entrance from Polk Lane, you have an additional public added to that particular open space. So this is a better look for this subdivision that is being proposed. The zoning ordinance provides a number of criteria for the review of amendments or modifications from base standards in planned residential districts. One of them, the first, is that such modification should be consistent with the standards and criteria regarding planned residential developments. The proposed amendments before you does not violate any such standard. For example, the minimum required open space is supposed to be 10% of the entire development. This is 32%. So none of those standards are violated. The request for the amendment is supposed to be specifically requested by the property owner or developer. That is the case here. These amendments have been requested by the property owner or the developer, namely Allen Olive Branch LLC. So those two conditions are met. The third condition has very many other criteria under it. No modification of the baselines, regulations, and standards will be allowed when such proposed modification will result in any of the following. The first, inadequate or unsafe access to the proposed planned development. So this is the site that we're looking at. If you look in terms of accessibility to this site, there is an existing traffic light at this location. That is a new one that was put in on Brabant. That is where you have the location of the traffic light. And then this is where we talked about a gas station under construction. Right there is an arrow cut. You know, you cannot make a left turn. Basically, those arrow cuts prohibit left turns out of the side street onto the main street. You can come in here, you can make a left turn, go into the subdivision. You can make a right turn out of the subdivision, but you cannot make a left turn on Goodman Road going east. That's basically what arrow cuts do. They also provide good storage area, you know, within the cut itself, the arrow cut itself. So they are a safer option. That is why MDOT went in and spent over $5 million in doing those particular improvements. MDOT has required the developer, whether these amendments are approved or not, irrespective of these amendments, MDOT has required the developer to close off these entrance, these crossover into Creekside Drive. So you will not be able to make a left turn into the subdivision from there. You will not be able to make a left turn out of the subdivision at that Creekside Drive. This is not a doing of the developer. It is not something being proposed by the developer. It's a requirement from MDOT. That requirement is not subject to these amendments. So even if all these amendments were denied and the developer went to build this subdivision based on what is already approved, they will have to do this. The second, Eastern Drive will also be shut off. So you'll not be able to make a crossover into no left turn on Goodman Road into Eastern Drive or left turns out of Eastern Drive. That will also be closed off. This is a requirement from MDOT, Mississippi Department of Transportation. It is not a requirement or something being proposed by the developer. MDOT has required the developer to construct another arrow cut at the main entrance into the subdivision. So that will be Forest Hill Irene, you know, the main, call it the spine road into this subdivision. There will be an arrow cut. The city, it was our opinion as staff that is better, should better have a traffic light there, but it's MDOT's opinion that the traffic counts, the numbers do not justify there being a traffic light there at this time. Maybe in future, if you have residential development further down to the south, then those arrow cuts may be removed and you have a traffic light there. But right now, the traffic studies does not show that it is warranted. MDOT controls access on Goodman Road, not the city. So all of these are MDOT requirements. It's not something coming from the city. It's not something coming from the developer. The only two things with respect to access to the proposed development that are changing has to do with this Fox Bend Lane which was initially approved to be extended into the subdivision and connected down in this area into Pleasant Grove subdivision, which will be eliminated, and I will explain that down the line. And secondly, you just approved the project text amendment for Center Hill Farms, Center Hill Plantation, which is this particular subdivision here. One of the things that will be good for the city is, in order to alleviate traffic on Goodman Road, an east-west minor collector road that can carry traffic from Center Hill Plantation, all those residential lots, whether the new ones being proposed that we're dealing with today, or to the west or to the east, and in Fox Creek, Kirk Farm, you can carry all that traffic to Pork Lane, especially with the industrial development we have along Pork Lane. That's a lot of workers' population you can have there. These Fox Lane minor collector road addition will provide an opportunity to move that traffic to Pork Lane back to Center Hill Road without having folks go down on Goodman Road. So it will significantly alleviate traffic on Goodman Road. It is on this basis that you have the proposer to basically align Fox Lane as it is currently proposed. It is the opinion of the city engineer that this is a better option for traffic management in the city. Fox Lane, therefore, would be constructed with a 60 feet right-of-way, 2-lane road with a bike lane added. So right now there is no bike lane in that whole area. So this will be basically a kind of complete street. You have a bike lane added, you have your grass strip, you have 5 feet sidewalk on both sides. So it will be a road that can handle cars, can handle pedestrians, it can handle bicycles in that particular area. And this can provide an opportunity for the city, to come in here. If Fox Lane is finally fully extended with that cross-section from Pork Lane to Center Hill Road, and then on DeSoto, you can actually have a bike train network that goes round in this particular neighborhood in future. The second condition is that traffic volumes should not exceed the anticipated capacity of the proposed major street network in the vicinity. The only way traffic volumes can be exceeded, is if the number of lots were increasing beyond the proposed road capacity network. In this case, the number of lots are actually reducing by 1, so the traffic volume is not expected to increase. So there will be no impact with respect to this condition. Third, an undue burden should not be placed on public parks, recreational areas, fire and police protection, and other public facilities which serve or are proposed to serve the planned development. All amenities that were approved in the subdivision are being maintained, so there will be no additional burden on any public parks. So the recreational facilities are being maintained. With respect to fire and police protection, this amendment will include the addition of an emergency access point on Eastern Drive. So Eastern Drive will not be connected. It will still remain shut off, with a cul-de-sac. So you have that white spot there, that is the cul-de-sac. Eastern Drive will be shut off. But what you will have is a little, 10 feet wide emergency access. So let's say it will only be used by police and fire trucks. So if you had a situation where there is a fire, I'm just giving an example, where you had a fire in Eastern Drive, along Eastern Drive, and the police or a fire truck was inside Kirk Farm, that fire truck will be able to come there and open, so this will be shut off. The general public cannot access it. Only the fire department will be able to open that, come in, put out any fire in Plantation Grove subdivision, and go back. So that will increase protection for Pleasant Grove subdivision. It will not be used by the general public. So that is only an emergency access for police and for fire. Basically emergency services. The fourth condition requires that a development which will be incompatible with the purposes of the planned residential development or the town's adopted general plan will not be approved. The purpose of planned residential development is essentially to provide flexibility. This does not violate that principle of flexibility. And lastly, any proposal that will pose a detrimental impact on adjacent properties or surrounding neighborhood will not be approved. Following the approval of this project text in 2024, one of the conditions was for the developer to complete the floodplain study and submit that study to FEMA. That study has been completed, it's been submitted to FEMA with regard to establishing the floodplain limits on Fox Creek. Right now, the study only ended at about this area. That study has been completed, and one of the things it shows is that if Fox Bend Lane were extended as it was initially proposed, in order to do that extension, you have to build the road higher. The box culverts there is a very high risk that it will cause water in that creek to back up, and there is a significant risk that it may potentially flood these two houses at this location if you have a significant 100-year storm and the Sanders property to the south was developed to some extent. That is one of the reasons why the developer is proposing to avoid that connection. It is to protect those surrounding houses from flooding. In this regard, the proposed amendment aligns with condition number 5, or conforms. Staff recommends, therefore, that based on the finding that the proposed amendments meet review criteria for modifications regarding planned residential amendments, the Planning Commission approved the proposed amendments to the Kirk Farm project text and preliminary development plan and recommends him to the Board of Aldermen subject to the following one and only condition, namely that all improvements shall be the responsibility of the developer and not the city of Olive Branch. And that includes all improvements on Goodman Road. That concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions of staff?
I've got a question. Could you go back to the phases? So my question would be, at what phase do we have two access points?
Initially, your first...
Not including the emergency one.
Without including the emergency one, yes. Initially, you were going to have 2 access points in phase 1.
Right.
So that was going to be on Goodman Road and on a Fox Bend Lane connection. Now, the 2 access points will be in phase 2. So phase 1 will be this connection. So this is your phase 1 down here.
Mm-hmm.
Your next application is actually the preliminary plan for phase 1. So you have the connection onto Goodman Road. And then phase 2, that's when you will have the Fox Lane connection to Fox Creek.
Okay.
So that will happen in phase 2.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Any other questions? There's no further questions. Do we have someone here to represent the application?
Henry Porter with W.H. Porter. We generally agree with anything that the staff had recommended, and we were open to any questions that y'all might have for us.
Any questions of Mr. Porter?
Okay.
No questions? All right, I will now open it for public discussion, public hearing. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak in favor or against this application at this time? Oh. All right, if you'll come forward, please, and state your name and address.
David Grisham, 7380 Pleasant Drive. We were talking about turning left into the subdivisions, and I know that Eastern Drive is one of them. What about Stanley Drive? You can still turn left in there, or is that going to change?
You will still be able to turn left on Stanley.
Yeah, can you
you'll be
Stanley
able.
will stay the same.
Stanley is going to stay the same.
Okay, that's what I need to know.
To the best of my knowledge, they have not said anything about Stanley.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Pat and Kerry Clark were at 7368 Pleasant Drive, and he covered one of them. I know originally they were talking about, and I think maybe he covered this and it's cut off. They were originally talking about cutting through where Old Goodman was, or just on Eastern into that new subdivision. I'm assuming now that that's gone by the wayside, and they're cutting through the Fox Creek area.
You're asking.
Yes. Is that?
Can you ask that again, please?
Yeah. I don't know how to point or do on.
So you will still have this connection
Yeah.
to kind of offset on
Eastern
Drive, yes.
Okay, so
it
that's
was
still-
offset. Okay, I can show it
Okay,
here.
so that's still cut in.
Yeah, you still have your street going in.
Okay.
On Eastern Drive, that is being maintained right here. So this
Okay.
is what was approved. With that offset, this is what is proposed. You still have that offset. So they are not
Okay.
changing that.
So that street's still coming in.
That's
to
still going to
Eastern.
still come,
Okay.
yes, sir. And that connection will actually be made, that street will actually be constructed in phase one. So really you have two connections in phase one.
Okay. And then another question I had, you were talking about at the end for emergency services at the end of Eastern.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna assume you're talking like a Yelp gate or something for emergency services?
Yes, emergency services in order, because let's say if a fire truck has to drive through it.
Right.
Then you have to do it such that it's drivable by the car, And the only way you control that is it has to have some kind of,
Right, and
means
that's-
that only police and fires are able to unlock.
Okay.
The other designs that are sometimes proposed, it's may not be a full road. You don't actually go in and pave it, maybe gravel, open in some regard. But whatever the design would be, and we would deal with that when we get to that particular phase on the preliminary plat, right? It will be such that the public cannot access it.
Okay, I knew you said gate, but you didn't made the motion like lock, but I'm like, I know emergency services has to have a Yelp gate. They're not gonna get out of a fire truck and go open a gate. It'll
They
have
use
to
all
be-
kinds of different approaches these days.
Generally, that'd have to be automatic gate.
Yes.
So, okay, the only other thing I had, which may be reserved for city, was all the water and sewage work they're doing. The easement, the 50-foot easement that was originally in there, which is now gone because they cleared that for sewer.
Let me explain.
I'll let you get
The
that.
50-foot easement that was originally proposed and approved, that basically is running along, yes,
Yep.
where you're pointing, thank you. When they've come through to put in the sewer, they came through and took down 40 foot. Easily, right now. So it's gone, completely gone. And they're still working on it. So I wanted to bring that to someone's attention. I don't know if you've been over there recently. I know you've met with our neighbors, but that's gone. So my question is originally they were going to add a couple of trees and different things like that, but it's gone.
Now, the developer is not yet doing construction, so
This is city.
that what we need to look at when we get to the planting in that particular area, we may have to have some supplemental planting out there, but it would depend on where the sewer line is, because you don't want to put trees on top of sewer lines. That will be a problem.
Yep.
So it's something we'll have to look at when we get there. But as I said, the developer is not yet out there doing any construction, so it would appear that the contractor laying the sewer line, public sewer line right now.
So I want to just
cut
bring
down
it to the attention to all of you that the 50-foot that was given to us that wasn't supposed to be touched is gone. We've confirmed the footage with the people who were out there running it, and they were digging, because we went out to talk to them as they started tearing the trees down. So I understand you have to have a way to get it in there, but it's really sad that it's completely gone now.
So we literally, I mean, if you want to call 10 feet or whatever wooded you have there, but someone needs to look at that because it's completely all the way down, and I'm sure it's going to continue on further.
We will look at having something replanted there to.
Please address, and would there be a
to fortify
continuance on that?
And I think those houses behind there, we're gonna have a fence. Am I
There
correct?
is going to be a fence, that is correct.
So we'll
But
look
again,
at,
the green area that y'all are wanting, 10%, et cetera, I mean, it's gone, completely gone.
Yeah, because it says, yeah, Stephen says there, 50-foot natural buffer.
Natural
which is
buffer.
Not there anymore.
So, just something to address. I know it's nothing overnight, but
Yeah.
thank you.
that'll be addressed as we move forward with the construction of the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to come forward?
That same line that you were on right there, I'm Laura DeVries, I'm on 7051 Stanley Drive. What are those white indicators along the top there? So like just to the left of where, yeah.
Like this one?
Where these two roads come in, what does that mean on your chart?
That's a TN, which is basically dead ending that street with a T street design. So if you have a car, for example, on this road, they're able to turn there and go back, but there will be no connection with the adjoining subdivision. So it's a way of permanently ending that street. Because right now it just ends nowhere, put it that way.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah, so maybe just like she said, consider adding some green something, because they have torn that all up on the end of ours. Yeah, on the end of Stanley too, they just kind of plowed right through. I assumed it was the sewer and water people that were doing that, but yeah, it is sad because it was a bunch of big tall trees. But, okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? No, no, sir, I'm sorry. You only have one.
Good evening.
To the podium.
My name is Abraham, and I own the development east of the property they're developing. I don't have a problem. I see a lot of development they did in Marshall County. They do a good job. But I'm worried about the access going to my property. I have a commercial property there, and I just put $4 million building that I have a mortgage on. And from what I see, Mr. Sang told me that both access only going west, leaving the subdivision, you know, that's going to affect the value of my property and also affect the development, you know. I don't know if the city proposed it to the highway department, and I don't know who proposed that. I don't know how the highway department will come. I never seen it done anywhere in Goodman, but at this site, just in the front, Brayborn and Fox Creek subdivision. I mean, what do we need to do to fight that? I mean, what am I going to do? I'm going to be landlocked to me. There's no traffic going in. They go in and then they have to go back 1.5 miles to get back toward the school or toward the other 4 subdivisions around the area. I think that need to be addressed. I don't know if you guys discussed it with the highway department.
I'll let staff address that if you wish.
There have been multiple communications between the city and MDOT, Mississippi Department of Transportation. We've met several times with their staff, and we've, I should say, met a brick wall in being able to say, we think this needs to be designed differently. Some of these, especially the arrow cuts, some of these closures, you may want to leave them open and provide greater access into this subdivision. And MDOT's position is no. They need to be shut down. And as I did mention, that does not depend on these amendments. So the current approval, to build the current approval, this driveway, this crossover into Creekside Drive must be removed. That's MDOT's position on this. And the argument is that because it appears there was an accident in this area that led to MDOT coming in and putting this arrow cut and this traffic light, the state spent millions of dollars doing that. They are not going to allow any other condition that can create any degree of, safety problems out there. We've even brought in the proposal of a corridor study from Center Hill Road to Hacks Cross. Or these, you're going to have a lot of development in this corridor. We just talked about Center Hill Plantation and other large vacant properties like the Sanders property to the south. This area is developing in an urban, kind of semi-urban style. It's not as rural as it used to be in the past. Maybe there is need to study that and then come up with a long-range plan and control this access in a way that is better, and that has made a brick wall with MDOT. Maybe there is an opportunity here for the neighborhood residents to reach out to MDOT and say, what are you doing to our neighborhood? And have that discussion directly with them and see what to do. But in terms of the city engineer has written down multiple times. He has made multiple phone calls. We've asked to meet with them. We've met with MDOT representatives here in the city, and they have basically said no. So that's where we are.
All right, so it's basically an MDOT decision. So I guess your recommendation is you get with the MDOT and see what they can do.
Okay, so it's not proposed by the city?
It's not proposed by the city.
And the city engineer can, look at this and make certain proposals that can support whatever concerns neighborhood residents may have as far as that is concerned. But ultimately, it will be an MDOT decision.
I would point out.
Worried about, if I know this, I wouldn't put another $4 million into it. I own this property. I live in the city for the last 30 years. And I own it since 2013 or 14. If I know this is going to happen, I will not put $4 million. And now have $30,000 mortgage. And if someone went in there, he will not come back. He's going to have to go a couple miles down the road just to come back. And I think the city need to help with this.
Mr.
The city have rights to reject.
This is really a separate issue. Then I don't want to conflate the two issues. It's really got nothing to do with the application at hand. But I would point out to Mr. Abraham that the R-cut would not necessarily prevent his customers. They would leave the store in the R-cut. You could U-turn at that R-cut. So it's not maybe quite as bad as it may appear at the surface. It might be worthwhile to discuss this tomorrow outside of this meeting, because these R-cuts have nothing to do with the application at hand. But I don't think it may be quite as bad as you're thinking.
Yes, it will affect the development because there was 2 access going into the subdivision, and now they all facing west. So, if it's not the city problem, if it's not proposed by the city, I get my attorney to get with the highway department. I have another 6.5 acres that I have to develop. Spent $500,000 in dirt work on the top of the $4 million building. We probably got another week to finish, and now we're surprised with a letter in the mail saying, I saw the proposal. I guess if it's not the city, we just need to go ahead and deal with the highway department. Yeah. I understand. I'm all for these guys. I know John Porter and these guys, they're doing a great job. I'm all for developments and we all need that, but we need to think about a little man like me,
Right. Sir, there's nothing that we can do to address your concerns on this issue.
I would recommend you meet with the city tomorrow. There's nothing we can do at this meeting tonight. So,
okay.
So we appreciate your comments and thank you.
I got one more question.
No, sir, your time is up. Thank you. All right, anyone else? I will now close the public hearing and will entertain any comments, motion, discussion by the commissioners.
I make a motion to approve the proposed amendments. I'm sorry, the application, and move it forward to the Board of Aldermen for final decision with the one staff recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Jones to approve the application subject to this staff condition. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second by Ms. Singer. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then the motion carries and it has been approved. The second application is an application for a preliminary plat for Kirk Farms Phase 1, submitted by Robert Reeves, Land Development Solutions LLC, on behalf of Allen Olive Branch property owners, John Porter, member. The request is to divide 21.83 plus or minus acres into 53 residential lots and 4 common open spaces. The subject property is Zone R3, Planned Residential District, located in the northeast corner of Eastern Drive and Goodman Road. So we're going to have the staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you is a request to consider the preliminary plat for Phase 1 of the Kirk Farms Planned Residential Development, which project text just amendment you just recommended for approval. It will consist of 53 lots in this particular area marked here in yellow. So you will have the street connection to Eastern Drive that we talked about. You have the entrance coming in from Goodman Road. You have the amenity, the sign amenity that will be provided there with a water feature. You will have a portion of the trail that will be constructed in this particular Phase 1. These are the lots. Basically, you have 2 main types of lots that will be in this area. Basically, the neighborhood lots, minimum 7,200 square feet, and then the minimum 10,000 square feet lots that will be back in Goodman Road. Those are the 2 main type of lots that will be constructed in this Phase 1 of the subdivision. And of course, stormwater management will also be provided. This is the preliminary development plan of the subdivision as proposed. Staff recommends approval. The subdivision plat does not violate any of the provisions of the subdivision regulations or zoning ordinance to the extent that the project text amendment as proposed is approved. Staff therefore recommends approval subject to a number of conditions, a few to highlight. Condition number 1 being that all improvements shall be the responsibility of the developer, not that of the city of Olive Branch. Condition number 4, the portion of the walking trail line within the area of Phase 1 of this subdivision must be constructed before approval of the final plat of this phase. So a walking trail is not the same as a swimming pool. All of that can be done with the grading and construction work that is going on. Condition number 8, we need to see an MDOT permit. Needs to be submitted to the city engineer for new street connections to Highway 302 before the commencement of construction. Any and all improvements required along Highway 302 by MDOT shall be completed by the developer. Condition number 11, which I propose to delete, this was inadvertently left. This was from the old approval. It had to do with the provision of a traffic circle, and in Phase 1 with a water feature that has been moved to, I think, Phase 4 or 5 of the project. So the proposal is to eliminate that condition number 11. And then condition number 14 had to do with the developer making some contribution with regard to sewer, cost-sharing contribution with regard to the provision of sewer in that particular subdivision. Construction is ongoing already, as you heard from the neighborhood. Those lines are being installed. The shared agreement had been worked out already with the developer, approved by the Board of Aldermen. The city engineer recently discovered that the line, when they did the construction plans, that a line providing access to this particular subdivision initially was thought maybe a 6 or 8 inch line. It's actually a 10-inch line. It's larger. So it can service the subdivision, and as such, there may be need to modify or nullify that particular agreement. City engineer is working on that. So that condition number 14 is maintained for that reason. That concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions of staff? No questions of staff. Does someone wish to represent the application?
Good evening. My name is Robert Reeves. I'm with Land Development Solutions. We're in agreement with all conditions as recommended by staff, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions? No questions, then thank you. Since this is a preliminary plat. We did not have to have a public hearing on this, so I will ask the commissioners for any comments or motions or anything they wish to add to the application.
I make a motion to approve the preliminary plat, subject to the 13 conditions.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Jones to approve the preliminary plat subject to the staff conditions. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Ms. Lewis. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it has been approved. Thank you. Our next application is item number 4, and it's an application for the first revision of Bridges of Camp Creek Phase 2 submitted by Mike Davis, the Reeves firm, on behalf of property owner Gil Ryan, GMR Camp Creek 2 LLC. The request is to revise the lot lines in this phase and to create open spaces, including a private drive. The subject property is on C4 Planned Commercial District and is located between Highway 302 and Camp Creek Boulevard on the north and south, and between Kraft Goodman Frontage Road and Pigeon Roost Road on the east and west.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you, I've got a background along with an aerial view of where we're looking at, as everyone is familiar with Chick-fil-A and Lowe's and Camp Creek. Again, that's where we're going here. If you'll follow the cursor off of 302 around to Camp Creek, you'll notice you're in front of Lowe's here, 5 through 12. That's what we were talking about this afternoon. Common open space F18 will be our subject. As you can see, there's a background from 2019 up to the final plat. The Bridges of Camp Creek PD Phase 2 approved March 21st, 2023. This is in front of you a depiction of the plat. As you can see, the right-of-way was dedicated here for the bridge. Again, the preliminary or the final plat approved had lots 8 and 9 in front of the bridge with no common open space between them. There was a road, again, follows in front of 5 through 12 along to 1 and the western bridge. This came off of the 3/14/23 PowerPoint slide in front of you all. With not all end users identified, lot lines may need to be adjusted versus how they will be recorded on the final plat, and that's what we're seeing today. We see a common open space added and a couple lot lines adjusted. Adjustments to move those lot lines or combine lots would be eligible to be placed on future consent agendas. Just wanted that noted. That was from 23. Again, we're at the first revision of this final plat. Depicts a 36-foot wide ingress-egress easement. It extends across the north side of proposed lots, ending at lot 12. The east bridge is directly across from Lowe's. It's located on 0.265 acres. It's public right-of-way. It splits a common open space now called COS F14. That was platted as part of Phase 1. Phase 2 contains a private drive as a common open space. Oh, I apologize, I got ahead of myself. It was first platted as COS B14. This is COS F18. It's going to be between lots 8 and 9 as depicted here where my cursor is. Again, that's located across from the bridge. The reason is it says in your packet that we're doing this is a restaurant is proposed for lot 9, and so that it will be some access for a restaurant. Here is the final plat along with our next steps. The plat will be forwarded to the board mayor of Alderman for consideration. Again, when approved by the said board, the plat would need to be recorded. Once that plat has been recorded, the lots may be sold or a building permit may be issued. Our staff recommendation, I do want to bring your attention to Again, number 4, the final plat must be recorded before any building permit may be issued on a proposed lot. Again, we talked about that common open space being added to possibly entertain a restaurant. So that concludes staff presentation. Happy to take your questions.
Any questions of staff? No questions then. Do we have someone here to represent the application?
I'm Mike Davis with the Reeves Firm, 6800 Poplar Avenue in Memphis. We're in agreement with the staff conditions, and I can certainly answer any questions you have.
Okay, any questions? Are you at liberty to say what restaurant is coming in?
I am not.
I didn't think so. I thought I would ask.
You always ask me. It's a national brand, though.
That's fantastic. Well, it really looks nice there. I just want to tell you, we're proud of the
Picking up
development.
momentum, too.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Thank you, sir. Public discussion, anyone here wish to voice their opinion for or against it? And I don't see anybody here on that, so I will now close the public hearing. I will now address to the alderman not the alderman, the planning commissioners, any comments, discussions, or motions from the commissioners here.
I make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Singer to approve the application. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second by Mr. Long. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Then the motion is approved. Thank you. And then finally, on number 5, we got an application for the final plat for Life Fellowship Church submitted by Nick Croonan, Civil Inc., LLC, on behalf of Perry Winstead Life Fellowship Church property owners. The request is to divide 28.93 plus or minus acres into 2 lots. The property is zoned AR, agricultural residential, and is located at the northwest corner of Davidson Road and Kerbo Lane, known as 7790 and 7895 Davidson Road. We'll have the staff presentation.
Before you, you see an aerial map with the new lot lines depicted. You'll notice the perimeter lot line, of course, stays the same. Your interior lot line that used to run east to west with my cursor, and then in a northwest direction across the lake, now moves up, and again going east to west, moving around the peninsula, and then it actually goes up to here. I apologize, it pulled it down, but it should be up to this corner here. The proposed lots 1 and 2 do meet the 1 acre requirements within the agricultural residential district. Both of the proposed lots have access to Davison Lane. Rural open swell sections are permissible, so there's no infrastructure needed. No sidewalks are going to be required. The submitted plat conforms to the requirements of the city's regulations. Staff does recommend approval for the final plat of the Life Fellowship Church 2-lot subdivision. Here is what was sent to us by Civil Inc. I had them add on here for ease of use where the home is. This is an existing home. The proposed lot 1 is here, but this is an existing home with an outbuilding. This is the church. These are parking lots around the church depicted with the islands and access along Douglas Drive for the church. So proposed lot 1 is 17.26 acres. Proposed lot 2 ends up being 11.67 acres. Both lots again zoned AR. They require 50-foot front yard setback, which they meet, except for the church, which we talked about as a staff that we'll have to address at a later time. 15-foot side yard setbacks and a 50-foot rear yard setback. The plat does meet the zoning requirements generally. So through these right here, we've got gas. This is a house here that someone could live in tomorrow. It's a very nice house with a nice outbuilding. Gas, water, and electricity are available. The vicinity of Davison and Douglas. Transportation, you've got Davison and Douglas for both lots. Both have paved driveways. No bond, no infrastructure needs to be recorded. Variances or deviation, they do not ask for any. Next steps would be, upon recommending by the Planning Commission, the plat would be forwarded to the Board Mayor of Alderman for consideration. If approved, said board, if approved by that board, the plat would need to be recorded. So I've got three conditions here. Staff does recommend approval, and the three conditions are in front of you. That is staff's presentation. Happy to take your questions.
Any questions of staff? If there are no questions, do we have someone here to represent the application?
Nicholas Croonan, address 3629 College Road, South Haven, Mississippi. I have nothing else to add unless y'all have questions.
Okay. Any questions, Mr. Croonan? No questions, then thank you. All right. Once again, we do not need a public hearing for the final plat, so I will now direct it to the commissioners for any comments, discussion, or motions on this application.
Make a motion to approve based on staff's recommendations.
Okay, we've got a motion by Mr. Singh to approve the application subject to staff recommendations. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second by Mr. Jones. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then the application is approved. Thank you so much. And our last item is a motion to adjourn, unless we have any other discussion from anyone.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, we got a motion by Ms. Singer and a second by Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye. We are now adjourned.